Guards. Today I've got the Bauer Ultrasonic pads here with me. I have used them on the ice a few times, and today is just going to be an open and honest review about what I really think about these pads and their performance on the ice. We're going to go over the strapping, the difference between these and the 2S Pros that I had before them, and some of the new technology and innovation that Bauer has specifically put into this ultrasonic pad. The first thing you'll notice, obviously, is that they don't look like the ultrasonic pads. I did get these in the Vapor 2X Pro graphic. I just preferred it to the ultrasonic graphic. I was never really a Bauer goalie growing up. I was using gear from a smaller Canadian company. That all changed when I got to college. At that point, I tried on a couple of different brands, and it was when the 1S pads had come out. And I remember seeing them online and thinking that they looked atrocious. I didn't like the graphic. But I was really intrigued by some of their technology, some of their strapping. I did get a chance to try those on, and I fell in love immediately. And from that point on, I was a Bauer person as far as my pads go. So fast forward now to 2021, and I have a pair of Bauer Ultrasonics. I use the 1S, I use the 2S, and now I am in the Ultrasonics. And let me just say, so far, I'm really impressed with what Bauer has done with this model. A lot of improvements from the 2S into these. And it's really been cool to kind of see the advancements in technology from the 1Ss to the 2Ss and now to these ultrasonics. A much more stable butterfly. I feel like the sliding surface of these is much improved. And I do think durability is going to be really improved on these as well. So here's a screen cap of what I ordered on these pads. Almost every single thing is stock except for the boot flex degree. And there's a little bit of a reason that I chose the 125 degree stiff versus the stock system, which comes a little bit softer. I was very accustomed in the 2Ss and in the 1S to a much stiffer boot. When I switched over from my very soft pad back in college, I really liked the stiffness of the boot in the Bauer pad. I feel like the stiffness really helped me on the posts. It helped me in my slides and it helped keep me stable. So when I ordered these pads, I decided just to stick with what I knew. Now this strapping is a lot like what you'll find on the 2X Bauer pads. A lot of people prefer this new strapping setup. It's a lot more simple, a lot easier to do, and it does allow a little bit more of a custom fit than the previous strapping that Bauer had on their 2S pads and also their 1S pads. The one thing that I really do like about this strapping setup is there's no need for a ton of different straps to change out the feel of your pad. So on the 1S pads and the 2S pads, they came with a lot of extra straps. You had short, long, medium, really customizable to however you wanted it. But on this pad, you've really just got these 1 or 2 straps down at the calf, which allows you to customize them on the inside of the flap as well as the outer flap, which is really nice so that you don't have to be swapping out straps. You can just kind of adjust them on the fly or change them up to your preferences. Under the calf is something that Bauer has instituted on these ultrasonics that I absolutely love. And it's this little pad here that goes under your calf and helps raise it up in the butterfly. Goaltending can put a lot of strain on your hips, knees, and groin, and having this little bit of extra padding to help raise your leg up in the butterfly really reduces the strain on your knees and hips. Now moving back up the pad, right below the knee is a feature that I haven't even decided yet if I really like or need or care for, and that is this professor style strap right below the knee. So what Bauer says this does, it allows you to tighten this up and stay locked in your knee without really losing any rotation. Pretty cool feature for those of you that are used to this professor strap and do like to feel a little more locked into your knee. Again, I don't really notice it too much. So now the knee block. And this is where the ultrasonics probably differ the most from the 1S and the 2S pads that came before them. This knee block is what Bauer is now calling their new Stabilislide knee block. And it's basically one piece locked into the core of the pad for a more stable butterfly, better sliding, less stress on your knees because this is locked right into place, so it's not bending and kind of flexing all over the place. I have to say, I absolutely love this knee block setup from Bauer, and I think you're gonna see this in a lot more brands very soon because this really is fantastic. This one piece knee block is almost an L-shaped hinge into the core of the pad. So this thing is not gonna go anywhere on you. When you land on it, it is flat on the ice and it's not going anywhere. I can push on it pretty hard, I can pull it back this way, and it's just gonna stay put in the core of that pad. Again, you can customize this knee strap as well, so you can have your knee locked in as tight as you want or as loose as you want. But no matter what, no matter how you do your strapping, this knee block is staying put. And I really love this feature. For a guy that's had knee problems, had hip problems, had groin issues, having this solid knee block, not go anywhere, not flex when you're in the butterfly, but help keep you up in the butterfly too, which is really important. Having this feature just helps make a world of difference, especially after you're on the ice for a couple of hours. Now, that being said, it is a little bit harder than maybe some of your softer knee blocks. So depending on the type of knee protection you're using, I am using the Supreme Bauer knee pads. You may want something a little bit softer, maybe something from Bauer Hockey, or even the Warrior knee protection is a little bit softer. You may want that to help absorb some of that impact, but ultimately this extra balance that this StabiliSlide knee block gives you is gonna make a huge difference in your butterfly and a huge difference when you are sliding lateral from post to post or back on a backdoor pass. The next bit of technology on these Ultrasonics that I do wanna touch up on is their Butterfly Assist calf plate. So I talked about the calf pillow, and this calf pillow is part of this Butterfly Assist calf plate. You can kind of see how the calf plate is at an angle, and having that angled calf plate actually gives you a better balance in the butterfly. So when you lean back, you are not over rotating or even under rotating the pad. You have a perfectly balanced butterfly each time, and it helps distribute your weight very evenly. I can't say I notice a huge difference in the slidability of these pads versus the 2S's. The knee block does make a big difference. I can definitely feel and get a better push when I'm sliding, but once I'm already moving, I feel like these slide just as well as the 2S's. Slide-wise, these are still, in my opinion, the best on the market as far as sliding goes. They're gonna get from point A to point B very, very quickly with these pads. So we talked a little bit about the stiffness of the pad as far as the boot goes. But the thigh rise is really where you can see how rigid this Bauer Ultrasonic pad really is. This is pretty incredible. This pad is probably one of the stiffest on the market that you could possibly buy today. A more old school pad, you've got to almost create that S-curve yourself in the flex, and they're gonna break in and they're gonna end up having a nice S-curve to them when you butterfly, a nice soft double break. With a Bauer pad, the Vapors and the Ultrasonics, that curve is basically made for you from the factory. So you've got this perfect, almost like an S here. This is maybe more of a Z, whereas the Vapors are like an S. But you've got this perfect form already. So when you drop in the butterfly, it's gonna be a perfect butterfly almost every single time. Now for years, Bauer has been using now this curved composite technology in both their goalie gear and their player gear. Of course, the Ultrasonics are no different. They're using this curved composite technology up in the thigh rise, which is gonna give you this perfect rigidness. And again, it's gonna absolutely make rebounds fly out of harm's way. One of the reasons that I made the switch to Bauer and their 1S pads was because of that rebound control. It is absolutely insane and incredible just how far these pads will kick out a really hard shot, hopefully into the corner depending on your rebound control. Ever since my first year of college, I started using these bungee straps on the bottom of the pad. I'd always have to swap them out myself for some aftermarket brand or even make them myself. This is great that Bauer actually included them as part of your build. I really like that. Like a lot of brands right now, from the factory, Bauer does offer the offset toe. The reasoning is that when you're in the butterfly, with the offset toe, your skate and the toe of your blade is actually closer to the ice now when you are in that butterfly. I think it is a great feature to have from the factory, and you can adjust this and put it into a more center traditional position if you wanted to. So along those same lines, one thing I really like about the boot of this pad is its ability to lock into the post on an RVH or butterfly against the post. So of course these bungees do help, but the way this toe bridge is set, kind of off of the pad and down lower than the toe, lower than the binding, it allows this whole area to lock right into the post on an RVH. So if you're sliding from post to post, having this area being able to lock into the post makes such a huge difference, and it makes you so much quicker when you're bumping off of that post. The other thing it really helps with, if you've got to slide back into the RVH, you're not always trying to look to your post to see where your toe is going to go. At some point, that's got to become muscle memory, and you've got to be able to do that without thinking. Having this extra space allows me to lock into that post without even looking, without even thinking. And I absolutely love this about these pads. This is something that the 1S's had to the 2S's, now to these Ultrasonics, and it is probably one of my personal most favorite features about the Bauer pads and the way they play. Before I finish up this strapping, I just want to talk about this leg channel and this kind of suede material that they use through the entire channel. This is a great material. It's kind of non-slip, so my knee pads, my socks are not sliding around when I am in the butterfly or when I'm standing in this pad. It just looks really fresh, it looks really clean. Bauer really just hit it out of the park as far as looks go on this pad. What Bauer is doing nowadays with the screen printing and the extra customization, I think that's really, really cool, and you're gonna see that kind of be the way of the future for a lot of brands. Ever since Bauer started making their equipment with this new OD1N technology, they have been under the microscope for durability issues. I never ran into any problems with my 1S pads or my 2S pads. The 2S pads I had bought used, and I still had a lot of life left in them, and they had been used quite a bit before I got them. My 1S pads, the only problems I had was some skate cuts on the front, which I used some pad wrap for. The 2S's I used for 2 seasons of men's league that was on the ice 3 times a week. Nothing crazy, really. The 1S's though, I was on the ice 6 times a week, and that was a season and a half, and I was still able to sell them with a lot of life left in them. These ones I think are going to last me an extremely long time as well with the same usage patterns. So overall, my final thoughts on this Bauer Ultrasonic pad are that they are an incredible performance pad on the ice. Really, the slidability in these, the rebound control, the feel of your knee and your leg in the leg channel is really awesome with these pads. Bauer has really stepped the game up. They've gotten more durable. Their screen printing looks a heck of a lot better than it ever has before. I think the customization is on point. The back of the leg channel, the color of the straps and everything else, being able to customize all that just kind of adds that overall experience, whereas on previous Bauer models, you weren't able to do a lot of that. In the butterfly, I've never felt more stable in a pair of pads. The Ultrasonics help keep your weight centered. They really keep that knee in place and locked onto the ice. And this extra calf padding is just fantastic to keep your leg elevated, reduce the stress on your hips and your legs, and help keep you stable whenever you're moving in a lateral motion on your knees in the butterfly. I do like the ability to customize the way the straps feel on your leg without having to swap out for long, medium, and short straps. There is a ton of Velcro on here to really allow yourself that perfect fit with this pad, with the straps that come on it. So it's ready to go right out of the box, which I like. Not having to mess around with my straps too much, because that's just one more extra thing for me to have to think about before I hit the ice. Now, all of that being said, the Bauer Ultrasonic pad is not gonna be for everybody. It is an extremely stiff pad. Now, believe it or not, when I got the 1S pads, I was actually coming from like a 35+2, and it was a very, very soft pad. It was a double break. It had a very, very flexible boot. So then when I went to try on the Bauer 1S's, I found myself sized up for a 34. I felt so much more mobile because I was using a smaller pad that was a little more stiff. So I just felt like I could move a lot better than kind of a larger, clunkier pad that had a lot more flex. So in my opinion, having that little bit of a smaller pad that seals the ice a little bit better does give you a little bit more flexibility on the ice, allows you to move a little bit better without large pads inhibiting you. That was my experience in switching over to something that was stiffer but smaller. It did help that patience for me. It did help me stay a little bit more square in my stance, and it really helped my movements on the ice. Well, Goal Guards, that about wraps up my review on these Bauer Ultrasonic pads. Again, Bauer is doing some incredible stuff as far as technology goes and innovation goes. They're really putting a lot of money into research and development for their equipment, both on the player side and on the goalie side. And I think what they've done here with these Ultrasonics is just improve what they already started with the 1S. These are some of the top performing pads on the market, on the ice, in my opinion. Again, they're not going to be for everybody. Do as much research as you can. Learn about the equipment that you're going to buy. If I can be of any help, feel free to DM me on Instagram, Facebook, message me if you want any tips or tricks on finding the right equipment for yourself or for your kids. If anything, check out a pair of these when you're in the store next time, just to see what you think about them in person. Get a little bit of feel for the pad, because it is kind of cool what Bauer's doing. Thank you guys for watching.